What's up, folks? Casual Dad here with the camera on tonight. Look at that. With another Warhammer Combat Cards video. I am here with a little tiny glass of sipping rum, a giant cookie, and a fever that may or may not end up being low grade. But before I get to before I get to bed and my imminent date with a double dose of Nyquil, I wanted to go ahead and jump in and sink my teeth into some sweet, sweet synced PvP after a long week. And I am particularly excited to get this thing. I've been playing a lot of Votann. I've been really enjoying it. This one, I have not been willing to shell out the 20 bucks for the single card, so I haven't gotten it. But I should get this. So before I jump to that, I do need to go ahead and knock out a couple quick changes that have come up for combat cards in the last 24 hours. It's been a pretty big day. Some leveling changes first off, so you'll get total deck points or max deck points much earlier now, so at a much lower level. I forget the exact level, but I want to say it's in the 20s. And you'll also get max number of bodyguards much earlier as well. So you'll level up much more quickly to the point where you're competing as kind of like a full-on player as opposed to kind of competing with limited points. I appreciated that as a ramp early on. It was nice to have that, but I mean, over the course of the game, it made less and less sense. And as I've been trying to help out new players, that's been a big obstacle, not being able to use all bodyguards or all deck points. So I really appreciate they did that. Yeah, I think that's a good change. The other big change today is they have added a modifier for game speed. So a quick warning on that. They've changed the default animation speed to be a fair bit faster. So through the course of this game, the first couple ones I'm going to be showing, you're probably going to see animations fairly fast. So what you're going to see is the new base speed. But then in normal ladder, or in practice, I think, whenever you play a game, when you actually start the game, you'll see a button on the right side that lets you change the speed from 1, 2, or 3 speed. And it goes extremely fast at the top speed. Definitely not as like zen and restful of a game, but it does speed it up, so you get through more games more quickly if you want to crunch through in a bit. And it's cool that you can modify it each game, just 3 taps to speed it all the way up, a couple more taps to slow it down. Yeah, I do appreciate that. So it's not a default setting. You have to go into settings and change. You can change it game by game. I'm sure there are some kinks to iron out, but we'll see that. So jumping into Battle of Fordriss, this is kind of a weird one. So it's a max level campaign. So all your cards start at max level, no matter which ones you have. You do start with your full bodyguards and 300 deck points, which seemed a little strange. And it is cut off the head, which is one of my absolute favorite modifiers, so that in each turn, if you kill the highest cost card on the opposing side, based on the cost of that card, all of your deployed cards will gain attack stats relative to its value. 80% of the target's points cost is added to the attack value of all deployed cards' attack stats. So that's pretty great, but it does snowball one way or the other. So these games are much faster, and hopefully that won't hold you up too much. It also does say it has warlord restrictions, but I haven't noticed any warlords being banned. So I'm curious if that's kind of a thing. We'll see. You probably will see quite a bit of Greyfax. Just to go ahead and throw this out there right in the beginning, the single best counter in the game to Greyfax is Illic Nightspear, the Eldari Warlord, because his ability doesn't care about what your current wounds are, it only cares about what your starting base wounds are. So you hammer something hard enough with range damage, it may look like you're only dealing, half damage to a Greyfax card, but that still could be enough to trigger Illic's ability to just remove it. And since almost all Greyfax decks will be running partial decks to get the maximum bonus, that's something definitely to watch out for. Yeah, so far I have lost one game because I miscalculated. I posted a photo on Reddit of where I had this beautiful, super powerful shot with Eldrad onto a Greyfax, and I missed lethal by 1 point, which was great, but you know what happens. Anyway, I'll jump into the games. I have not been playing the same deck twice. I will break that now. I'm going to show real quick some of the decks I've been playing. I have been using some of the newer cards in this one, but you don't have to. The key thing is here you want some Taunt, some Fear, you want Psionic Blast and some Shields, and of course if you have the Swarm Lord who is rare by himself, this is a really powerful deck. And this has been a really fun one, because a lot of the time, like the Swarm Lord usually does, you can feel all game like you're on the back foot, like you're going to lose, and then Swarm Lord hits the table and he is such a wall that he ends up winning most games by himself, even if he has to punch through a bodyguard and the Warlord himself to do it. So that's been fun. Another one I ran, let's go ahead and jump through some of the other ones I have done. I did an Anva deck. This one was a bummer. I'm actually going to play this one now because I won this one with a disconnect. My opponent disconnected in first turn, so I didn't get to try it. So this is what I put in there. Let's see what else I did. I am going to play at least one game, probably two, with Etok Warspeaky and or our buddy Uthar the Destined, because I absolutely love them. And I've been laddering Votann, and it's cool to see them at max level, and since I'm trying to get a Votann card, it's very appropriate. So we'll play this guy right here. I'll look at those decks in a minute. I'm trying to think what other decks I have played, because I've definitely played quite a few. Let me look through again. So we saw Stormlord. I have done Uthar. I did Eldrad. And this was my Eldrad deck. So not even a full deck. Loved this one, and it was crazy powerful how hard this punched. All Psychers, except I do have the one taunt in there, and the high health taunt, who is really clutch in that game. Super, super powerful. A great piece to protect your heavy hitters while they gather up damage and let you punch through the end. Eldrad himself at max damage will kill almost anything in one hit. But you might want to over-calculate that a little bit and not get too cocky, because sometimes you might miss it. Just saying. And I don't remember who else I've played. So I may have done some repeats at some point. For players starting out, some of the best warlords out there, Shas'O is absolutely incredible. He's probably the single best Tau warlord in the game, just because of what he does with their stats. Even better with max stats, because his ability is a flat bonus to... It's a percent bonus to damage twice, or a percent damage reduction based on damage coming in, all of which is much better the higher the damage is. And then, of course, Akaran is still really good at high level, just because he gives you extra lives regardless of the damage coming in. And let's see, some of the other scary ones. Snickrot's still quite powerful, but will run out of steam even in this deck points. I haven't actually tried him. Canoness, I still argue, is one of the best warlords in the game, hands down, so a great one to pull out. And then, I do see, okay, Lilith Hesperax is not in the list, so she's banned. Yeah. Some fun ones, if you want to try some weird fun ones. I enjoyed the Swarm Lord. Of course, I did fight against a, what's his face? Boldus. That was an interesting one. Anyway, I'm talking too much. We'll go ahead and jump in. I am not going to play a Greyfax deck. I'm just going to say that outright. Hope you don't mind. You can build that pretty much any way you want. Just make sure to leave 125 points unspent to not only give opponents a fighting chance, but then also to make sure that you get maximum bonus on your cards. There we go. On va. So we'll try it. Goal here is that I've got super, super high health cards that will gather damage based on the damage they take. Assuming I don't run up against some Psychers, we should be doing great here. And it sucks. The one disconnect that I did not get to finish was again... Ooh. That's another good one to play against Greyfax. I'm going to have to bring that up. Because his ability is also based on base wounds. Maybe not. Okay, 25 or less health. I don't know if that's base wounds. Honestly, not sure. However, it is a way to remove cards without outright killing them and then add them to your deck. I don't know if they keep the Greyfax bonus, but still, anything that will take out cards a little bit before they otherwise would is really, really good against Greyfax. So definitely consider your Tesseract boy up there. Trazen the Infinite. That's his name. Oh, it's been a long week, y'all, and it has been a difficult day. The fever's just a kicker, but you know what? We'll feel great tomorrow. Yeah. I'm assuming Seamet is going to be the most expensive card on the board. We'll see if I get that wrong. In a 300 deck points, it's a lot harder to guess who that's going to be, but I was talking about this earlier. There's never really a bad time. Oh, that was a mistake. So, pointer on that. Well, maybe. We'll go ahead and do this. So the thing there is that had he placed that all the way on the left, there was already a barrier in the way, so I could not play the target acquired against his most expensive card. So what he did there would have allowed me to put my target acquired against this guy, which I should have done, but for whatever reason I decided not to. Maybe he's priming for the next play? I'm not honestly sure why I would do that. And since I want to take some range damage... And here's the thing, if you're going up against Enva, you don't want to do damage to a card unless you're going to kill it. If you don't kill it, you're just going to charge up its stats and make it hit back that much harder. As seen here, already has a decent buff to damage, so I am deliberately taking some extra damage so I can hit back harder. Now that may cost me with this modifier, especially against Trazen, but that's the point of playing Enva, so we'll see how it goes. The other thing too is that you do want to include as many cards as possible. I didn't do a great job of this. As many cards as possible that have both ranged and melee stats. Even if they have a 1-point attack in melee, they can then generate defensive melee attacks. Because they will have a stat that can actually be buffed up, which is amazing. So now this guy's going to start pumping up attack values, which will be phenomenal. But I still have a bunch of shields to go through on that guy. But what I'm going to go ahead and talk through, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to punch through this guy's shields. And then as soon as possible, I'm going to rotate over so I have another card across the lane from him. So I have my charged up Riptide that then can do some work on the lanes while I worry about this guy later. I do want to kill it because he's the highest value, but I don't want to trade too many cards to do it. See, look right there. May not have realized how big of a melee buff he was giving me, or he's probably charging up that ranged buff to go ahead and try to take out these cards in one go and avoid pumping them up too much, which is a good play. That was a great strategy. Yeah. Oh, risky. We'll do this. Oh, I don't want to lose too many of my cards too quickly here. We'll do it. If he hits me with that ranged attack, I don't think it's enough to actually kill me yet. Ooh, is that shields down? We got shields down. There's still every chance I'll lose this. I don't know that this is as tuned of a deck as I hope it is, and I did just trade a bunch of cards, even if they were cheaper ones, to take those shields down on both of those cards. I have certainly made this player nervous, though, so that may save me. That is very familiar. I think I've played against this character before, at least their deck. Ooh, yeah, look at that melee. Hitting back for 180 melee damage on a Tau Riptide is bonkers. And I think I actually have enough to get lethal on this guy now because I have Big Game Hunter, and max level Big Game Hunter does almost double damage, and I don't need quite double. Ooh. Now here's the question, though. Do I? Yes. Okay. And that thing's starting hit points are good, but I don't know. Ooh. that was... Oh, that was good. Okay. Problem. Look at those melee stats. Love it. That was a really smart play. That was well done. I didn't expect that. Downside to Trazen. The target for your capture ability is also the same card that would be the target for that cut off the head. So as you're putting cards in your deck, you're not getting the attack bonus that you otherwise would, which is a bit of a bummer. And that was a good try, but you know, sorry, bro. And that's why you bring extra target acquired. May not matter, because my Riptide is kind of alone here, but it's kind of funny as I can take that card out by melee, I think, between these two. With that max level target acquired. This is a good game. I'm glad I'm recording this one. There's a lot of back and forth. This Dace is a very clever player, and we have kind of evenly matched decks. Or Dace has me completely blown away here. I am overestimating my own stats. And Dace is just playing cautiously, which is also possible. Let's do it. Give me some regen. Because my Riptide is getting dangerously low here. And that is a very charged up range stat. 92%, yikes. Which will basically double it, which isn't enough to kill this, but it may be enough to get it down to 25% health. If it's not enough, though, that will guaranteed kill this guy on the return fire. Which is a bold choice. Because I'm about to kill it anyway, and then see what pops out. Now, he may drop my Riptide against me. That was a very risky play on his part, and we'll see what else is in that deck. It's a thin deck, so there's probably quite a bit in it, and I know there's at least one high-level Riptide in it. But I do have this guy here with a really high range stat now that's almost on par with a Riptide. I also made a mistake. This one doesn't have a melee stat either, so I didn't put together the best deck today. Ooh. Okay. Max range stat on that is, well, okay, not as much as I thought. With that bonus, though, that could easily be enough to one-shot the Riptide, or at least pop it in the deck. Ooh! Ooh, that's good. Okay, and that's the other way you do that, is by keeping your really powerful cards in the deck so that they can play later, and then they can hit injured cards to get that damage buff, and especially if they're ones who should stay on the table for a long time. And he outright killed it. Okay. That was also a very, very good play. Let's see what I got here. That's a bummer, because I think that can actually do that in a single hit if it doesn't kill it outright. Now I do have the shields, but I have to get to Trazen himself, which is quite unlikely at this point. So I think he's got me, so I may have my loss here. My one loss, whatever, as if I haven't lost already. So I did lose one game, I said, with Eldrad. I also lost to a disconnect at 1.2. I also won a disconnect, so that's kind of evened out. And of the number of games I've played, not getting too many disconnects has been good. So. So you can already see the animation speed is sped up. This is now the default. This is not the fastest. Oh, that's a bummer. Because the fastest speed is now, you can't do that in synced PvP. I will say the changes already do make the games much faster, which I really appreciate. But it is a little bit dizzying. I think this could be dialed back a little bit, just because it just is jarring. It's a little bit like going from playing Breath of the Wild to playing Counter-Strike, in terms of just the emotional trauma of seeing these moves go so fast. Or maybe I'm old, or sick, or both. And splat. Salute. Okay, let's try the next one. I really do want to play Etok, just because I, again, love Votann. I'm really enjoying the deck, and to see these cards at max level is super fun. And it is a really good deck against everything will get in 300 points, because the higher value the overall card pool is, the more it hurts them losing their traits. And so it may seem like an underpowered deck on paper, and this is. It's 25 points under points, and it's not a Greyfax deck, so that's a bummer. We'll see how this goes. I may lose. If I lose twice, I'm going to play something much more competitive so this video doesn't get too long, or I'll just cut it before I get that tank thing. But I'm getting that tank. If not tonight, then sometime this weekend. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any issues with this, you want to hear advice about deck builds for specific warlords, let me know. Yeah, happy to kind of talk through some strategies with what you have. It's always a little bit challenging because there has to be that back and forth of like, what do you have? What are you going to do? But I'll try to keep it a little bit more, and that works in my favor. I'll try to keep it a little bit more general, like this cost range, this trait range, like that kind of thing, rather than be too specific, just so it can kind of fit around your collection. And I know with max level games, the biggest challenge is not the level of your cards, but the actual cards you have in your collection, which can be a challenge. On that, I will say they have rolled out a bunch more of those like $1 to $5 starter packs, which I really, really like. Feels a little bit weird liking them as much as I do because it is monetization, but at the same time, like, I'm not shelling out $20 for a single copy of a card, but I will shell out $2 for a decent collection of cards that I really like, especially if I don't do it very often, which I won't. There, I'm assuming the highest value card is going to be the one played in the center. So far, these are all very cheap, so probably filled out the deck with cheap stuff, and there's some really, really scary stuff in there. This is going to be an interesting game. Running a smaller deck, ooh, bummer, does definitely increase your chances of going first, which has been kind of great. Just because higher cost cards tend to be also higher, lower initiative rather, slower moving. And one thing too is you can go ahead and cheese out, because most players will really, really try hard to take out your highest cost card as quickly as possible. So what you do is you weaken their other cards while you let them do that, and then in your follow-up, if you get a board wipe, you just hit them really hard and take out all of the injured cards and then their expensive card, and then you have the counterattack. So it can actually be better to give up the bonus earlier so that you can then have it later, a la Risk. Oof. Although I didn't mean to make it that easy. And I don't have my target acquired in here, so that's a bummer. But one thing I really love about this is that has fear and relies really hard on the trait of fear, which I can remove because I'm scary. And there we go. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Ooh, what are we going to do? Yeah, this is a really good one to play early. Another thing, too, is this deck is full of shields, which is not immediately apparent when you see it early because a lot of players haven't seen all that many Votann cards. And one cool thing about Etok is as you're losing cards, you can keep applying the no ability. I'd love to see it. I love that card. You can actually keep applying the null vortex to the same cards repeatedly. So now I can redeploy another card in front of this guy. Oh, and that's another thing too, is as they do come out, as they come off of null vortex, any traits that they did have removed, they then gain back. So this is here, so if he tries to shoot me, since this guy can't shoot back, this will still take that guy out. So here, loaded with shields and high hit points, he's got the bonus, but I took this guy down a lot faster than any player would expect, and that's an extremely expensive card. You do not want to lose it. He's going to lose it, so he's got to figure out kind of what to do here. And then he's got to deal with 2 highly shielded cards in the follow-up, because they'll have really high bonus attacks from this guy. And that's where Etok has been really strong. On paper, it looks like a Warlord that wouldn't perform very well in this, but because of the way that players tend to protect or fortress their high-value cards so they don't give up that cut off the head, gives you actually a much better chance to surprise them and do things like I just did here. 144, love it. And 2 shields. And 1 shield, wow, okay. And this is a bit of a bummer going up against Artemis, because Artemis's ability does go through shields. It doesn't remove shields, though, which is nice. Ooh, that's gnarly. I really do wish I had included the target acquired card in here, but the points just didn't work out. Once I have the more expensive shooty car, I will probably include it. And that should be a big, big bonus. And he can melee. I think he has enough to take this guy out and get the attack bonus, which is a bummer. We're both running low on card count here. This is going to be a nail-biter, y'all. If I'm not losing too badly in terms of cards on the board, I'm fairly confident in Etok himself against... How many shields does he have left? 2, okay. I'm fairly confident in Etok against Artemis. But that's nothing to take for granted, for sure. I've got 1 more shield on him, and this guy has 148 attack power because he lost Inspiring Presence, so he can't one-shot me. So we'll go ahead and do this. And he didn't get the bonus, but he can almost one-shot me anyway, if he has a ready or nails one of these guys with the Artemis ability. So if the Artemis ability hits my shielded card, that would be the best possible outcome here. There's also a bad drawback, is at this point, unless I quickly take out one of these cards, he is going to play Artemis after I play my Warlord, which, oh, perfect. Okay, so the shielded card did take that ability, which is fantastic. Does have a Psyker on the board, which is less than good. So see how this goes. And I don't think I've got this. I think you got me. Because Artemis's target acquired will comfortably take out Etok before I'm able to get any traction here. So you got me. Got me good. 2 losses in my video recording. Oh, man. That's embarrassing. That's what happens when you get cocky about winning a bunch of games in a row. I will do 1 more Votann game. If I lose that one as well, I'm going to switch to something else. I want to do at least 1 win before I sign off here. One cool thing, though, is that Etok will also do Null Vortex, so you will not get Fear or Death Blow. Removing those Death Blows is great. It is a big bummer that Etok's ability does trigger... is the first card you play, so if your opponent has anything that deploys after you, they get a lot more ability to play around it, which is not as big of a problem against AI, but is a big problem against human players, while the board is still malleable. So like first deploys or board wipes, you really can get in trouble. Excuse me. Yeah, crushing. Well job, Robert. Well played. Good job, Robert. Alright, we're still getting our ranks of the Deceiver. Props to, so far again, I haven't played the same Warlord twice. They've been very different decks and played well. That's pretty cool. I love seeing that. We're going to get a little bit more serious. I'm going to try a little Canoness. I talked about how good she is. Let's see how good she really is. And where I've usually been building these decks, I reach straight for my most expensive cards early on, especially the ones that are best with the Warlord's ability. Endless and Inspiring Presence with a high melee attack just plays right into Canoness's ability. This one, again, very lucky to have 1 copy. Phenomenal. Just incredibly durable and is the lowest cost of the ones I have in there. That's a bummer. We'll think about it. Go ahead and throw Sancta in there. Some extra shields. Oh, Hicks. Hicks is just such a good card. We do want some target acquired. What's my melee target acquired? He's Fear. What's this guy? Not melee target acquired, he's range target acquired. I actually don't remember if... Yeah, we do. It's... What's his face? Alright, we'll do it. He's not special, he's always max level. Alright, what else we got? We'll throw this guy in here, and then we have 14 points left, so we have... I will do this to max points. 14, Got you in there, and we got you. Ooh, he's not as good. Oh, we'll throw this guy in here. Yeah, we got a couple extra points. That's fine. Give it a shot. Canada's bonus attacks are really going to make a mess of this, especially if I'm able to get any of those big game hunter kills. Or not the big game hunter, the cut off the head. High cost. Against Greyfax. Now, here's the thing where Canada's performs well against Greyfax, because Greyfax usually has low card count decks, and Canada's gets a bunch of bonus attacks. So even though Greyfax's cards can take more of those bonus attacks, they're going to take more of those bonus attacks with fewer cards to shed them. Now, where this may be a bit of an issue is there's probably going to be a lot of fear. If it's mostly psychic, that'll be good, because then I have to worry less about wailing on it in melee. It's unlikely it's a full melee deck, but we'll see. Okay, looks like heavy psychic. Probably the strongest Greyfax option. And even though that's almost certainly not going to be the highest cost card played, that is the one I want to remove. And I'm deploying first again, which is a... Well, that's odd that I'm deploying... No, I'm not. Ooh, okay. I'll drop this guy in here. And then we'll see if he tries to move away from that target acquired. I assume he won't, but we'll see. Okay. And so let's go ahead and cheese it. There you go, buddy. And that is a bummer. As the player deploying last, you kind of don't have any option but to... Haha, yeah. See, almost killed that before any moves had even been made. And here he pretty much has to do Psychic. Which will give me the opportunity to smack things around. Now, downside here is the cut off the head is going to be really hard for me to get, because this card has 500 hit points. So, but the bonus attacks will help. And then the downside to that is that the cut off the head will also hit it. I can also trigger it twice off the same card, which is kind of fun. So let's make some noise. And this guy is just so ridiculously hard to get rid of, and actually has pretty decent melee at this level, which takes him forever to get. Wow. Wow. Well, 13, right? Okay. What do we got? Bonus here, 60%. Okay. Now, the good news there is that 60% means I've seen a significant chunk of the cards included in that deck. That guy's 34, yeah. So these two here, I mean, even on a 300-point deck, you're going to run through those quickly to end up with enough deck points left over to get 60% unspent. I think that's around 100 points unspent, so this would be about a 200-point deck. That's quick math, don't quote me on that. Bonus attack, ooh. So much bonus attack, but it's still a bummer. Bummer, bummer. Let's go ahead and see if I can get some of these. Yeah. Let's give it a try. Oh, yeah. Love that max level. Furious. Yeah, yeah. Which gives me enough on the end here to take this guy out. Still not saying by any means this is going to be an easy match. But I am optimistic. Especially since I still have my scary, scary engine in the deck, and it may get some bonus attacks in before it does Death Blow and does significant damage to something. Now, I've also done the same mistake where I have this one on the board, which will trigger the max card bonus twice unless I drop the Penitent engine before they kill the second copy. And then, oh, come on. This card is really bad. Go ahead and say it. I mean, sure, whatever. It looks great right now, but no, that card is really bad. I said it. You can quote me on that one. Now here, hoping that Hicks gets the bonus attack against the Living Saint. That would be huge. No, that was the worst possible scenario. Although getting it twice is not bad. So all 3 of those bonus attacks against him is 4 attacks against him is pretty good. But oof. Yeah, I probably lost this one too. So after this one, I really do need to get serious. Ooh, I don't know if I'll make it, y'all. Feeling that Nyquil. I'm sorry for all the chatter on this one. Hopefully that's fine. If you don't mind it, then probably do other videos without it in later times. If I win this to a disconnect, okay, good. If I won this to a disconnect, that would be a real bummer. Oh, good. That's still not going to save me by any means, but it is good. Yeah, kind of got to go with it. I got the bonus hit, which is going to kill that, and then also trigger another bonus hit, which isn't going to be enough to kill that. So, okay, so max level 300 deck point may not be Canoness's best place to shine, especially against a Greyfax. It did what it's supposed to do, but not enough. Okay, I got enough juice in me for one more game. And I do hope, and it's hard to say until you record the videos and actually check the time, but I do hope these have been faster games. My instinct is that they are, but you can't really be sure until you actually see the recording length later. Brutal. Alright, so let's see what else we got. So I have one more game in me, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try Shas'O. And at least, at minimum, you got to see what some of the other players are running, even if I have completely let you down. I feel alright about it. It's been not bad. This is a really ranged attack-focused deck, so I'm going to load this up with as many of those as I can get. No need to be fancy about it. Let's see. Oh yeah, 129, 310. 137, 312. Yeah, but the points are so much different. Wow, those are like really, really close in terms of what they do. Okay. Some of the really good ones. We got that guy, we got this guy. And then we have a very cheap target acquired here. And we'll go ahead and throw this guy in here. What do we have? 5. No. Okay. Woo, okay. Nyquil, folks. That's the good stuff. Yeah, this will be my last game. I may not even make it all the way through this one, but we'll see. And it's against Greyfax. Let's see if I can do it. Now the goal here is just to punch so hard that even Greyfax can't take it down. Is this against the same guy? That is a real bummer. Okay, we're the 2 playing right now. Hopefully we don't both realize that. Oh well. We'll see. Maybe he's tweaked the deck? I don't think so. I saw that before. And I'm pretty shocked that I'm not going first on this one. That's actually quite surprising. Nope. Nope, it's not a good card. Don't do it. Yeah, that's all fun and all, but it's not going to be enough. $155A. And we're going to see what that does with a... So I've got 155 base plus a 55% ready and target acquired and the 20% bonus from Shas'O, which should be an alarming amount of damage considering I only have one card shooting. And it was quite alarming. And his deploying first is definitely a liability here. And my next volley has got to realize is going to be the supercharged one from... It'll be the 40% bonus damage from that rank 2. So he really wants to kill that, which of course you do. And he did it. All right, now let's see if I can take this guy down in reasonable order. So do this. This isn't great. I should comfortably be able to take that out. Yeah, but I still have to deal with this guy. So there's only one card left on the board that has that attack bonus, and I can keep feeding him more fragile cards. But I still, again, am uncomfortably low on cards, and he's still got quite a few in there, and this guy. That said, basically all of my most powerful cards are still in my deck, but also I'm on my defense turn, not on my offense turn. The other downside here, too, is that Greyfax is a heavily ranged warlord with Big Game Hunter, so we'll be able to better counter Shas'O than some other warlords. Shas'O has shields, but still does trigger Big Game Hunter, so this could be a interesting match. Now, I will say the play of the Living Saint is a smart play because it's usually a very good points fortress where there's very few other cards in the game that are higher cost. And it's pretty dang hard to bring that down once it has 500 hit points. So that's a very smart play if you're considering Greyfax. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what you got, Shas'O. And this is a bummer having all 40-point or higher cost cards. We got outflank, we got the defensive bonus, we got a very high ranged ready, we've got a little barrage, inspiring presence. Ooh, that was nice. That may have been enough to turn it around. Now we'll see. It's still not good, but I don't know that this guy has enough damage. Even with all those buffs, I don't think he has enough to take down Long Strike. And if Long Strike gets one more shot on him, I will kill him, which will free up Shas'O to do some work and also hit Greyfax from a flank. Also, this has the damage bonus. Has Big Game Hunter, and next turn we'll get the extra 20% damage. This is definitely closer than the last one. And I still have the defense buff up for the moment, but it'll go away right when I want it to. Yeah, okay. So I survived that. We'll see if I have enough to pull this out. I think with shields I will, but it's going to be close. Oh, nope, that definitely changes the math. Okay, I've got it. Whew, boy. Okay, I was able to show you one win. But hopefully the games weren't a total waste. But no, I really enjoy this play. Yeah, just not my best at the moment. And you know what? You win some, you lose some. I can't guarantee I would have won all my games in the best time. Players out there are pretty good. Oh, what? That was... I don't know if that was an intentional, like, tip of the hat or what, but I'm pretty sure there is a surrender button. But, oh well, whatever. That felt like an intentional surrender, but... Still, good game. And we got 700 coins, 2 wins away from our sweet card, and we got a couple more days to do it, so we'll get there. Appreciate your patience, y'all. All have a wonderful Friday night and a terrific weekend, and we'll check back in later.